What if the scariest sea monster isn't just a legend, but a symbol of something real happening right now? Across the world, deep-sea creatures are rising to the surface. Strange shapes are appearing in the oceans, and scientists are quietly growing concerned. Something massive is changing beneath the waves, far from human sight. Is it nature? Is it us? Or is it something we don't fully understand yet? One hidden pattern connects it all, and once you see it, the ocean will never feel the same again.
Alien life beneath the sea. The deep ocean harbors exceptional life forms that defy natural existence through their complete deviation from terrestrial biological standards. The organisms inhabit extreme environments that combine crushing pressure with near-freezing temperatures and permanent darkness. Because these conditions exceed the survival limits of known life forms, the extraterrestrial organisms need to acquire survival skills, which scientists consider impossible because they rely on their conventional knowledge about human capabilities. Deep-sea organisms, at depths where sunlight cannot penetrate, use other methods besides vision to explore their environment. The creatures use their sense of touch, together with vibration detection and chemical signal assessment, to find their way throughout their environment. Their bodies are composed of soft materials, which enable them to withstand high-pressure situations when their opponents use rigid materials, which would break under such pressure. Many species display bioluminescence, elastic bodies, oversized teeth, or ghostly transparent skin, making them look more like science fiction creations than real animals. Some organisms use bioluminescence to lure prey, while others use it to interact with others, and some organisms utilize light to become less visible in dark environments. Because humans have explored only a small fraction of the deep ocean, scientists believe countless species remain completely undiscovered, living in isolation for millions of years without ever encountering sunlight or human technology. Each deep-sea expedition continues to reveal new organisms that challenge existing scientific classifications. These discoveries force researchers to rethink how life can exist without plants, sunlight, or traditional ecosystems, proving that biology is far more flexible than once believed. The anglerfish, which people sometimes call the Black Sea Devil, represents one of the ocean's most dangerous predators. The animal uses a mouth-mounted luminous attraction, which operates as its primary hunting method because it lacks hunting skills based on movement or sight. The faint light becomes an irresistible force that smaller animals use to search for food in completely dark environments. The anglerfish waits motionless until its target drifts close enough to be swallowed whole. The combination of its enormous jaws and its needle-like teeth enables it to eat prey that approaches its body size, which makes it one of the best ocean ambush predators. The oarfish exists as another animal that scientists study because of its unique ribbon-shaped body, which extends beyond 6 meters in length. The creature has a size that exceeds its strength capacity because it possesses a weak body that cannot survive in shallow waters, which explains why people find it only during times of injury or death. Many cultures have misidentified the creature because of its glowing form and its slow movement, which resembles ocean waves. These species create an ecosystem that exists beyond human knowledge because it contains elements that belong to an extraterrestrial ecosystem that exists beneath Earth. Entire food chains exist without sunlight, relying on chemical reactions and organic debris drifting down from above. The creatures of the ocean present a study which shows extraterrestrial life on another planet. While it demonstrates how astronauts might survive outside Earth, and it proves that the ocean still keeps hidden information which will transform our understanding of all living organisms. If these discoveries challenged everything you know about life, the next one challenges everything humans fear. The Leviathan myth. For thousands of years, legends have spoken of a terrifying creature said to rule the deepest parts of the ocean, Leviathan.
Described as a colossal sea monster, Leviathan is believed to be far older than human civilization itself, lurking in the darkest waters where no light can reach. Ancient sailors feared it as the true king of the sea, a being so powerful that even storms and waves were said to bend to its will. Stories claimed that Leviathan was responsible for dragging entire ships into the depths, leaving no survivors, and that encountering it meant certain death. These myths were not just entertainment, but warnings passed down through generations, reinforcing humanity's fear of what lies beneath the ocean's surface. One of the most famous associations linked to Leviathan is the Bermuda Triangle, a region infamous for mysterious disappearances of ships and aircraft. According to legend, Leviathan was responsible for sinking over 100 vessels and claiming more than 1,000 lives in this area alone.
Sailors describe massive shadows beneath their ships, violent whirlpools forming without warning, and monstrous shapes rising from the water before entire crews vanished. While modern science explains these incidents through weather patterns and navigation errors, the idea of a hidden sea monster remains deeply embedded in popular culture, symbolizing the unknown dangers of the ocean. The ancient religious texts about Leviathan show it as a divine or demonic entity rather than a regular animal. The Book of Job describes Leviathan as a creature that no human being can control because it has breath that creates fire and eyes that shine like burning coals. The creature shows no signs of defeat because it cannot be harmed by weapons, yet it terrifies all who face it. The Book of Isaiah describes Leviathan as a snake-like creature who will be defeated by a powerful divine entity. Jewish scriptures describe Leviathan as a giant sea serpent who was created at the beginning of time to fulfill his role in the final events of the world. The descriptions of Leviathan show him as more than a monster because he represents the complete force of chaos. The legend has transformed into a technological phenomenon that exists in the present day. The existence of Leviathan may not be entirely fictional because satellite maps and deep-sea scans have revealed strange images and videos. People have started to share videos of mysterious shapes they spotted in the ocean, which they think look like gigantic creatures that stay hidden under the water. The internet has spread these theories because social media platforms connect ancient mythology with contemporary human anxiety. People believe that global warming, together with other environmental changes, has disturbed an ancient power that exists in the ocean depths. The legends themselves create an unsettling atmosphere, which makes the actual ocean situation more difficult to handle. Mass deep-sea animal migrations across the globe. A disturbing pattern has begun to emerge. Animals that normally remain hidden in the deepest parts of the ocean are suddenly appearing near coastlines and shallow waters. These species are not designed for life near the surface and often arrive weak, confused, or already dying. Their movement does not resemble normal migration, but rather a sudden and desperate escape from an unseen threat below. Instead of moving with purpose or seasonal direction, these animals seem disoriented, as if fleeing without knowing where to go, driven purely by instinct and fear. One of the most shocking cases occurred in Tasmania, where roughly 150 killer whales were found stranded along the shore. Many were lifeless, while others showed extreme distress and refused to return to deeper water, even when rescued. Orcas are intelligent apex predators that rarely encounter danger in the wild, making their behavior especially alarming. These whales are capable of navigating vast distances and complex underwater landscapes, yet they chose to remain trapped on land rather than return to the sea. Their panic suggested they were fleeing something more terrifying than anything on the surface, something hidden in the depths that humans cannot see. Soon after,
more than 700,000 sea turtles appeared along the beaches of Odisha in South Asia. These turtles normally live far from that region, inhabiting waters near Mexico at significant depths. Their sudden arrival after traveling thousands of kilometers raised serious concerns about what could drive such a massive displacement. Many of the turtles were found exhausted, injured, or dead, unable to survive in such unfamiliar conditions. At nearly the same time, similar scenes unfolded in Carolina, where thousands of fish washed ashore, struggling for oxygen, yet never attempting to return to the sea. Instead of retreating into deeper water, they remained near the shoreline, as if something below made escape impossible. The ocean brought only 2 deep-sea creatures to shallow waters, which appeared even less than oarfish and anglerfish. These creatures exist in total darkness because they inhabit regions that experience extreme pressure conditions. The animals started appearing in coastal areas, which included islands throughout the globe, while most of them arrived sick or dead. Oarfish represent one of the deepest living bony fish species that exist on Earth because people very rarely observe them in their natural habitat. People used to believe that beach sightings of this creature would bring disasters. However, the recent multiple sightings show that this creature comes into contact with people in a different way. Multiple events that occur at regular intervals show a trend that leads to mass withdrawal instead of random events. The creatures have chosen to flee from danger instead of exploring new areas or searching for food. All deep-sea adapted species that exist in different global locations display identical behavior patterns that occur simultaneously. The deep ocean grounds share a common element that triggers system-wide ecological disruption throughout the world. The deep ocean now represents a dangerous environment that drives all life forms, including the most resilient species, to death. The animal movements show more similarity to evacuation patterns instead of natural behavioral changes. The surface represents a final hiding place for these animals. Instead of providing them with chances to succeed, the animals select to stay in a dangerous environment which remains completely unknown. Instead of facing the hidden threats that exist underground, the creatures use their quiet movements to show that important changes have occurred in the concealed ocean environment. The deep ocean and its mysteries. The deep ocean remains one of the most mysterious and unexplored realms on Earth, covering an overwhelming portion of the planet while still hiding most of its secrets from human knowledge. Around 71% of Earth's surface is covered by oceans, yet humans have explored only 5% of this vast underwater world. This means nearly 95% of the ocean remains completely unknown, making it one of the last true frontiers of discovery. While humans have mapped distant planets and explored outer space, the majority of our own planet still lies hidden beneath kilometers of water, untouched and largely unobserved. Beneath the waves exists an alien environment filled with strange landscapes, towering underwater mountains, endless plains, and deep trenches that stretch farther than the human eye could ever see. Massive underwater volcanoes, hidden caves, and entire mountain ranges exist in total darkness, shaping ecosystems that operate without sunlight. In these depths, traditional food chains do not rely on plants or photosynthesis. Instead, life depends on chemical reactions, falling organic debris, and geothermal energy rising from the Earth's core. These systems function independently of the surface world, forming isolated environments that may have remained unchanged for millions of years. At the very heart of this mystery lies the deepest point on the planet, the Mariana Trench, also known as Challenger Deep. This massive underwater trench plunges down to nearly 11,000 meters, or about 36,000 feet. To understand how extreme this depth truly is, imagine placing Mount Everest inside it. The tallest mountain on Earth would be completely submerged with room to spare. At such depths, sunlight cannot penetrate, leaving the environment in complete and permanent darkness. Less than 1% of sunlight reaches even the upper layers of the deep sea, meaning everything below exists in pitch-black conditions where vision becomes almost useless.
Deep ocean environments become uninhabitable because they present conditions that humans cannot survive. The pressure becomes so extreme that it instantly crushes a human body. While advanced technology fails to operate in that environment for extended periods, the Mariana Trench base water pressure exceeds sea level pressure by more than 1,000 times, which creates enough force to bend steel and break most materials. Life persists in these extreme conditions because temperatures remain near the freezing point. Creatures living there have developed bioluminescence through evolution, which created flexible bodies and slow metabolisms, along with special survival skills that help them handle extreme pressure and total darkness. The deep ocean becomes frightening because we have complete knowledge of its elements, yet we still lack understanding of its complete extent. Scientists have not yet identified entire ecosystems that exist in nature. While there are probably multiple species that humans have never encountered or even thought about, deep-sea research expeditions uncover new species which scientists find difficult to categorize because they lack established biological classification systems. These organisms possess potential value that can provide scientists with insights into the primitive origins of life on Earth and the possible forms of extraterrestrial existence. The vast unknown territory generates scientific interest and human dread because it reveals that massive forces, creatures, and natural phenomena function outside human sight. The deep ocean functions as both a beautiful and astonishing natural space and a scientific boundary which reveals that humans have not yet solved all Earth mysteries. Ancient beliefs and omens. For centuries, humans have believed that the ocean sends warnings before great disasters strike, and among the most feared of these signs is the appearance of deep-sea creatures near the surface. Long before modern science, sailors and coastal communities noticed strange patterns in nature and began associating unusual animal behavior with impending catastrophe. The sea was not viewed as a passive environment, but as a living force capable of communicating through storms, tides, and the creatures that emerged from its depths. Storms, earthquakes, and massive waves were often preceded by sightings of rare sea creatures, leading people to believe that the ocean itself was delivering messages. Fishermen recorded strange events in logs. Oral traditions passed from elders to younger generations, and myths grew around the idea that certain animals acted as messengers between the hidden world below and the human world above. These beliefs were not random superstitions, but deeply rooted interpretations of repeated patterns observed over centuries. One of the strongest and most persistent symbols of these omens is the oarfish. This mysterious, serpent-like creature has been connected to disaster folklore across many cultures. In ancient times, its enormous size, ribbon-like body, and glowing appearance caused people to believe it was not a natural animal, but a supernatural being. Its rare appearances near the surface were seen as unnatural disturbances, signaling that something terrible was about to occur. The 15th century brought sailors to Greenland and Iceland who claimed to see a giant, luminous fish which swam along the coast, extending several meters long, while its eyes shone with star-like brightness. Many people believed they saw either a sea spirit or an extraterrestrial creature.
A dangerous naval storm hit the area just days after this sighting, which resulted in the destruction of numerous vessels and the deaths of thousands. The sequence of these events established strong evidence that the creature had come to warn people about an impending disaster. Japanese folklore developed similar stories about oarfish, which became associated with the ocean god's anger during the following centuries. The fishermen of 1855 reported that they had seen silvery oarfish swimming at the ocean surface, which fishermen considered an extremely rare sighting. A catastrophic earthquake occurred 2 days later, which destroyed entire cities while causing extensive human fatalities. People established the belief that when the sea god became angry, he sent oarfish to serve as his last warning before he would bring destruction. Oarfish sightings became an important part of Japanese culture, which regarded these sightings as serious omens instead of uncommon natural occurrences. These ancient fears appeared again in contemporary society. In early 2011, Japanese beaches became the location for dozens of oarfish, which washed up because they could not survive in such shallow water. The country experienced one of its most deadly tsunamis when it hit Japan 3 weeks later, which resulted in more than 20,000 fatalities and displaced millions while causing extensive destruction throughout the nation. The same time period from Mexico to the Pacific Islands reported identical sighting patterns. The pattern of behavior that researchers observed created a strong case that deep-sea animals possess the ability to detect geological shifts before human beings begin to notice them. The narratives should be understood as either a biological instinct or a supernatural warning because they create a boundary that separates scientific knowledge from mythological beliefs. Ancient omens continue to influence disaster perceptions among people in modern times because they remind us that the ocean remains an unknown territory that contains both fearsome elements and mysteries. You've heard the myths. Now it's time to see the disasters that made people believe them. Historical disasters linked to oarfish. Throughout history, there have been several disturbing events where sightings of oarfish were closely followed by massive natural disasters, strengthening the belief that these deep-sea creatures are connected to catastrophic change.
Because oarfish rarely surface and normally live in extreme depths, their sudden appearances have always been treated as unnatural. In many cultures, especially among sailors and coastal societies, these sightings were recorded with fear rather than curiosity. Over time, a pattern seemed to emerge. Whenever oarfish were seen near shore, tragedy soon followed. One of the earliest recorded cases dates back to the 15th century in the regions near Greenland and Iceland. Sailors described encountering a massive glowing fish stretching several meters long with eyes that appeared to shine like stars in the dark. Many believed it was an alien creature or a sea spirit, as nothing like it had ever been seen before. Just days after these sightings, a violent sea storm swept across the region. Dozens of ships were destroyed, thousands of people lost their lives, and entire coastal communities were devastated. The timing of the storm solidified the belief that the creature was not merely a fish, but a warning sign from the ocean itself. Another chilling incident occurred in Japan in 1855. Fishermen reported seeing silvery oarfish swimming close to the surface, something that was considered extremely abnormal. These sightings were followed shortly by a powerful earthquake that destroyed large portions of cities and slayed countless people. The Japanese folk tradition established a permanent link between oarfish and earthquake disasters. The sea creature became known as the ocean deity's messenger, who only emerged from the ocean's depths to announce major upcoming disasters. The most modern and widely discussed case happened in 2011. The weeks before March 11th saw the death of numerous oarfish, which washed up on Japanese beaches.
The event appeared to be a coincidence to most people, yet the country experienced one of its deadliest tsunamis in recorded history shortly afterwards. The disaster resulted in the death of over 20,000 people, while more than 1 million residents lost their homes and entire cities turned into desolate wastelands, which created economic losses that surpassed hundreds of billions. Oarfish sightings occurred in multiple global locations, which included Mexico and different Pacific Rim territories. The global pattern that observers examined indicated that these creatures could sense Earth changes that humans cannot detect until much later. The modern world uses technology to monitor all parts of Earth, which has brought back ancient fears in a disturbing contemporary manner. Modern speculation. In recent years, modern technology has reignited ancient fears, transforming old myths into viral global discussions. With tools like satellite imagery, deep-sea scanners, and global mapping platforms, people now have access to parts of the world that were once completely hidden. This has led to a surge of speculation whenever something unusual appears in the oceans. Strange shapes captured in the middle of vast waters have sparked intense debate, with many believing these images reveal massive unknown creatures lurking beneath the surface. What was once limited to folklore is now amplified by digital evidence, making it harder for people to dismiss these ideas as pure imagination. One of the most controversial moments came when mysterious formations were spotted on satellite maps of the ocean floor. These dark, enormous shapes seemed to resemble something organic rather than geological. Some viewers claimed the outlines looked like giant serpents or colossal marine beings hidden in the depths. Screenshots spread rapidly across social media, with millions of users analyzing and enhancing the images. Theories exploded overnight, suggesting that ancient creatures might still exist, concealed in regions too deep for human exploration. While scientists argued these shapes were likely underwater ridges or shadow distortions, the visual impact was strong enough to convince many that something extraordinary had been discovered. The increasing number of deep-sea creatures that now appear at the surface has intensified this particular speculation. Many people who experience these events believe that a gigantic force operates underneath the ground to push all living things toward the surface. The possibility that global warming might disrupt prehistoric ecosystems now creates a fresh source of anxiety. People maintain that extreme environmental changes have awakened ancient species that evolved millions of years ago during their time of isolation. The belief that an ancient, powerful force emerges from the ocean's depths creates a strong connection to climate anxiety, which already exists, and environmental destruction, which people experience. Modern digital platforms create an environment that enables panic to spread throughout the world with alarming speed because people use their devices for instant communication. A single image or video can trigger global panic within hours, blurring the line between science, myth, and imagination. The visual evidence that experts present to their audience creates a stronger emotional reaction than their logical arguments. People are drawn to the idea that humanity does not fully control or understand the planet, and that enormous forces still operate beyond human reach. Modern speculation shows a deeper truth about our technological progress because it reveals uncharted territory while showing our lack of readiness to face hidden threats that remain in Earth's core. Geological factors. Beyond pollution and climate damage, the Earth's own geological activity plays a powerful role in the strange behavior of deep-sea creatures. Beneath the oceans, massive tectonic plates are constantly shifting, colliding, and sliding past one another. These movements may seem slow and invisible on the surface, but in the deep sea, they create intense vibrations, pressure changes, and electromagnetic disturbances. Marine animals that live in these depths are extremely sensitive to such environmental shifts, relying on subtle changes in water pressure and natural signals to navigate their surroundings. When these signals are disrupted, confusion and fear spread through entire ecosystems. As tectonic stress builds up along fault lines, the ocean floor begins to release unusual patterns of energy, including vibrations, sound waves, and even chemical changes in the water. These early warning signals are often undetectable by humans, but are easily sensed by deep-sea animals.
Whales, fish, and other marine life may experience extreme disorientation, leading them to abandon their normal migration routes and rush toward the surface. This explains why large numbers of deep-sea species are often seen emerging shortly before earthquakes or tsunamis occur. Their behavior is not a coincidence, but a biological response to invisible geological signals. Abnormal animal behavior has served as a reliable warning system for major seismic disasters throughout history. Music during dangerous situations. Fish leave their home waters while whales beach themselves and uncommon fish species move into shallow waters. Marine species display this behavior because they function as natural detection systems that identify geological disturbances. Modern scientists recognize that animals possess the ability to detect environmental changes that human technology needs time to observe. The deep-sea creatures exist in the region where tectonic activity originates, which makes them the first ones to encounter its impacts. A recent example of this occurred when Myanmar was struck by a devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake that caused widespread destruction across the country. The period before this event recorded unusual marine behavior, which included rare species surfacing and fish leaving deep water areas. Humans use instruments for earthquake prediction, while marine animals instinctively react to earth changes. Their sudden migrations may serve as a silent warning system, revealing that powerful forces are shifting beneath the ocean floor. Hold on, because the next truth doesn't come from the earth, it comes from us, scientific explanations. While ancient beliefs offer mysterious interpretations, science provides a far more disturbing explanation for why deep-sea creatures are abandoning their natural habitats. Human activity is rapidly transforming the oceans into hostile environments. The strange migrations and mass deaths of marine life are not random events, but direct consequences of environmental damage caused by modern civilization. From rising temperatures to toxic pollution, the deep ocean is changing so severely that even species adapted to extreme conditions are no longer able to survive in their own ecosystems. One of the most critical factors driving this crisis is global warming. Sunlight normally penetrates only about 200 m into the ocean, leaving deeper layers permanently cold. Over millions of years, deep-sea organisms evolved to survive in these low temperatures. However, as surface temperatures continue to rise, heat is now being transferred deeper into the ocean. This disrupts a delicate balance, as oxygen does not travel easily between warm and cold water layers. As a result, oxygen levels in the deep sea are rapidly declining while temperatures increase. These creatures are essentially suffocating in their own environment, forcing them to migrate upward in a desperate attempt to find breathable conditions. This problem is made even worse by ocean acidification. As oxygen levels drop, carbon dioxide concentrations increase, causing seawater to become more acidic. Acidic water damages the internal systems of marine life, weakening their bodies and making survival nearly impossible. The death of fish, turtles, and invertebrates creates a complete breakdown of entire ecosystems.